half since their 20-year-old son was murdered. Two parents are in mourning and still wondering who killed him. The unsolved murder of Terrance Kinard Jr. is the new episode of my podcast, Borderland Crimes.
Shout out Scope 17.
Minutes before midnight on January 26, 2019, someone called police about hearing gunshots in this northeast El Paso neighborhood. When officers arrived, they found a man dead, lying on the sidewalk outside a house. He had been shot several times. The victim, later identified as Terrance Kinard Jr. He was a budding rapper known as T. Kaiser the Dummy, but his parents knew him as TJ, the youngest of two sons and a father himself of two, a boy and a girl.
This is the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with in life, and this is a pain that I wouldn't want anybody to have.
But I want them to know that they hurt me dearly. They took away a huge piece of my life, a huge chunk of my heart. I miss my son.
I love you too, Mama. Miss you more.
TJ's mother, Lakeisha Washington, lives in Florida. She agreed to let her teenage son move more than 1,600 miles away with his dad in El Paso to finish high school. She wanted him to have a chance at a safer life.
A lot of his friends here in Jacksonville were being shot and killed. It was some small gang activity here in Jacksonville, and he went to school with those guys. They were his friends, and I just got tired of taking him to funerals every weekend.
TJ graduated from Chapin High School and enrolled at UTEP. Lakeisha says he wanted to be a music producer. She knew he enjoyed rapping, but she was concerned.
I look at the friends that he had, I look at the videos that he had, and I'm not gonna lie, they scared me.
Free skies and free move, huh? Conjugate what it do, huh?
Because I was like, who is this person?
I've been waiting to get hit, huh?
He talked about somebody threatening him. He talked about, somebody wanted him to die. He talked about that a lot, not just in one song. He talked about it in many songs. And I just cannot conceive that nobody asked him, hey, TK, who you talking about? Somebody had to know who he was talking about.
Then one night, this 20-year-old was silenced. More than a year and a half has passed without an arrest.
I gotta believe that they will be brought to justice. I have no choice but to believe that.
El Paso Police Detective John Armendariz discussed the case in a video produced for Crime Stoppers of El Paso. That's a nonprofit organization that works with the community, the media, and law enforcement to solve crimes.
Speaking to two individuals that we know of, and we suspect that these two individuals are shooters. Some kind of exchange happened where a weapon was brandished and Mr. Kinard was fatally shot.
In my podcast, Borderland Crimes, I explore the possible messages in TJ's rap and why the lyrics worried his mother. Also, the frustration both his parents feel about there not being any movement in the case. Both Terrance and Lakeisha feel someone is keeping information from police.
I feel like it was a setup for my son to die. And that's just how I feel about it. I tried to warn him. I tried to tell him, about friends. We think friends are our friends, and they're secretly our enemies.
And you can hear the rest of the story by subscribing to Borderland Crimes on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. It's free. You can also go to kvia.com/borderlandcrimes. The two people who were last seen talking to TJ are described as black men. One was in his 30s, heavyset with a beard. The other was in his 20s, tall and skinny. They were last seen leaving in a small gray four-door vehicle, maybe a Nissan or a Toyota. If you have any information, you can call Crime Stoppers at 915-566-8477.